Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a super common headache for developers, especially if you're building those blazingly fast headless e-commerce sites. How in the world do you keep your lightning-fast, cached website perfectly in sync with your Shopify backend? Well, let's solve that. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll break down the caching problem itself. Then, we'll introduce the really elegant solution, this sort of automated messenger. I'll show you exactly how to connect all the pieces, we'll see the awesome payoff, and then we'll zoom out and look at the bigger picture. All right, let's get into it.
So, you've done it. You built this beautiful headless Shopify store with Next.js, and it's so fast, right? That's because you're caching data. But here's the catch. That incredible speed comes with a brand new problem.
Just picture this for a second. Your client logs into Shopify, they add a slick new product, or maybe they just change a price. They hit save, they go check the live site, and nothing. The old information is still there. That very same cache that makes your site so fast is now, well, it's showing stale data.
And look, this isn't just some minor annoyance. This disconnect can get really messy. You've got frustrated clients, you've got confused customers trying to buy something that doesn't seem to exist. And that means real business consequences. We're talking lost sales.
So, the big question is, how do we get the best of both worlds? How do we have a super fast cache site that also updates the second something changes? Well, the answer is a clever little automated messenger called a webhook. The easiest way to think about a webhook is like a digital domino. The second an event happens over in Shopify, say a new product gets created, it automatically pushes over a little notification to our Next.js app, basically tapping it on the shoulder and saying, hey, something just changed. And this, right here, this is the real game changer. It's a fundamental shift in how our apps talk to each other. Instead of our app constantly having to ask Shopify, hey, anything new, anything new, anything new? That's the pull method. The webhook lets Shopify tell us the instant an update happens. It's a push. So much more efficient.
Okay, so this sounds great in theory, but how do we actually set it up? Well, connecting these two systems is basically a two-part process. First, we've got to configure the webhook inside Shopify, and second, we need to create a little listener endpoint in our Next.js app to catch the message.
So you're going to hop into your Shopify admin, head over to Notifications, and you'll create a new webhook. You'll choose what event you want to listen for, like product creation. You'll set the format to JSON, because that's easiest. You'll give it the URL of your listener endpoint, and this is crucial. You're going to add a secret key for security.
But wait a minute, Shopify lives on the internet, right? But your local development server doesn't. So for development, a tool like ngrok is absolutely essential. It basically creates a secure tunnel, giving your local machine a temporary public URL that Shopify can actually send these webhook requests to. Of course, once you deploy, you'll just use your real live URL.
Now for the fun part. Over on the Next.js side, the magic really happens with one simple command. When your endpoint gets a valid webhook from Shopify, this one little line of code, revalidate tag, is like a magic wand. It tells Next.js, hey, go bust the cache that's tagged products. So the flow your code needs to follow is dead simple. First, it receives the request. Second, it confirms it's actually from Shopify by checking that secret key. Third, it sees what happened. Oh, a product was created. Fourth, it calls revalidate tag. And fifth, and this is so important, it always returns a 200 OK response. If you don't do that, Shopify will think it failed, and it'll just keep trying to send that notification over and over again. So you've done all the setup. What's the payoff? Well, that huge problem we started with, it's completely gone. The whole flow is now totally seamless. A change happens in the back end, which instantly triggers a cache update, which means the front end always shows the absolute latest data. Speed and freshness finally living together in harmony.
You've literally gone from a world of stale data, of maybe having to manually trigger redeploys or clear a cache by hand,
To this. A fully automated system that delivers a perfect, up-to-the-second experience for everybody. For your clients, and most importantly, for their customers.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. What you've just learned isn't just some neat trick for caching. Webhooks are a truly fundamental pattern for the entire modern web.
Think bigger for a second. You can use this exact same pattern to kick off a shipping process or to sync your inventory with some other system. You could even get payment notifications from Stripe. Webhooks are basically the universal glue that connects all these different services across the internet, letting them talk to each other in real time.
So, by really understanding webhooks, you've unlocked an incredibly powerful new tool for building way more dynamic, way more intelligent applications. And that's why this matters. It opens up this entire world of automation, letting you move beyond just building websites and start building truly interconnected systems.